Welcome back, everybody. Dave, ABQ, SCNC, Sports Cards and Collectibles. We are back with another edition of Gizmo's NFL Power Rankings. Gizmo working hard on the Power Rankings, getting them to us for Week 11. Crazy game between the Seahawks and the 49ers on Monday night. If you missed it, you just missed out on one of the craziest games. It wasn't the best football game ever, but it was a great game, rivaling the Rams and the Chiefs Monday night last year. And let's get to it. Bottom half of the league, staying at the bottom, the Cincinnati Bengals. Gizmo says the Bengals are that bad. No accusations of tanking this season, just plain outright stink. At number 31, the Washington Redskins down one spot. Oh no. Off the bye week, Gizmo says at 1-8, the only good thing is Haskins has a chance to build confidence at playing quarterback. Totally agree. They should have done this starting like week 4. Get that kid some experience. If you are going to stick with him next year, he needs that experience at quarterback. At number 30, the New York Giants. Gizmo's team right above mine at 30, moving down 3 spots. Gizmo says, if it weren't for the Bengals and the Redskins, this team would be on the bottom. Fins up, still may be on the bottom. So, Giants not looking good. Lots of turnovers by Daniel Jones. He needs to make better decisions and hold on to the ball better. And they need to do something with that defense in the offseason, as they gave away all their good players. Number 29, the Atlanta Falcons up 2 spots. Gizmo says a 1-17 manhandling a 7-1 team. Never know in the NFL these days. Man, the Falcons look fantastic against one team, and the rest of the league they are horrible against. Hopefully this is their turnaround and they can salvage this season, because they have not looked good before this last game. Number 28, the Miami Dolphins, moving up 1 spot. Gizmo says they have a 2-game winning streak. May not have the number 1 pick in the 2020 draft. Is the front office happy or not? Who knows? Like, you could have traded out of the first pick of the draft. This team wants to win, even if you traded away all their players. Kind of like the Giants in the NFC. Number 27, the Cleveland Browns, up 1 spot. Gizmo says beating the Bills, one bright spot, but this team has a long way to go for the hype of a playoff team. They should have been playing like this a while ago, man. Some of the games that they should have won, it's all on Baker Mayfield and that play calling. You can't, like, they had 7 chances from the 1-yard line to make it in, and they still just had to kick a field goal. Got to get that red zone offense playing a lot better. Number 26, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, staying in the same spot. Gizmo says all this struggling team has is hope, but too late in the season to salvage anything. I said this in the preseason, it's Jameis Winston. When he's on, and he looks like one of the best in the league, but when he's not, this is where they are. Number 25, New York Jets, staying in the same spot as well. Gizmo says another up and down team, win 1, lose 1, win 1. Fins up next to 1 last time. So the Jets, great defense, keeps them in ball games, and Bell is a workhorse, but Darnold not making any improvements over last year. Number 24, the Denver Broncos, off the bye week. Gizmo says no Flacco, so the Broncos will know how Allen fits in the roster. Tough game against the Chiefs. Broncos, unfortunately, can't get anything going. They traded away their best receiver, and they really have nobody to throw the ball to. Number 23, the Arizona Cardinals, down 1 spot. Gizmo says Arizona can beat teams it's supposed to, but they can't. But can they beat the Steelers coming up? Yeah, they've done good against sub 500 teams. Whether or not they can beat those other guys is the question. Turnovers cost them as well. Number 22, Chicago Bears, up 1 spot. Gizmo says a must win against the Rams or this team will be out of the playoffs. NFC crowded for playoff berths. Curtis Elliott's Bears got to get something going. Yeah, they should have won that Pinheiro game, but this team's up and down all year. Trubisky's been in and out of the lineup. They really don't have an identity right now. The running game that they had last year just isn't the same as it is this year. Number 21, Los Angeles Chargers down 1 spot. Gizmo says the Chargers are up and down team, a must win against the Chiefs or their playoffs are history. If that defense cannot create pressure, they are not going to do well in games. Like that's what their whole game is based off of. Rivers just looking his age right now, looking horrible, throwing all kinds of interceptions and costing them games. Number 20, Jacksonville Jaguars up 1 spot after the bye week. Gizmo says the Jags would have to go 5-2 in the final games. Foles will be back. No margin for errors. T-Unit's team, the Jaguars, hopefully they are ready to make a run with Foles. He looked great the first half of the first game. Hopefully that carries on when he returns to the lineup. It's absolutely the right choice to put Foles back in the starting spot. We'll see if they can get anything going. Number 19, C. Rogers, Detroit Lions, down 1 spot. Gizmo says Stafford questionable. Defense is not improving. And Dallas is up next, not looking good for their season. Stafford with a back injury, out of the game. I was shocked. Everybody apparently in the organization knew early in the week, but they didn't really tell anybody until right before the game. This team has potential, but whether or not Stafford's in the game or not will depend on how they do. The backup played okay, but still couldn't get over that hump to beat Chicago. Number 18, my wife's Pittsburgh Steelers, down 1 spot. Andy in his Steelers as well. Gizmo says the defense came up big, keeping the Rams out of the offense, and Rudolph doing just enough on offense. Yeah, I think they're playing Rudolph too conservatively. They need a play call and give him the options that they do when Ben's in the game. Too many checkdowns is going to get this team in trouble. Number 17, the Tennessee Titans, up 2 spots. Gizmo says one of Tannehill's best games. No one will question Vrabel's decision on starting him over Mariota. Yeah, Mariota was just not having a great season. He's looked horrible the last couple ones, just squeaking into the playoffs. This defense keeps this team in games, and Henry finally running the way he should be. Top half of the league time. Whoop, whoop. Number 16, Carolina Panthers, down 1 spot. Gizmo says they came up short against the Packers, put up a good fight. Not easy to win in Lambeau. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is tough in Lambeau. Panthers with Allen have looked better than they have with Cam Newton. There's big talks of Cam getting dumped at the end of the season to save payroll. Next up is number 15, the Buffalo Bills, down 1 spot. Gizmo says this game could cost this team a spot in the playoffs. Allen needs to play more consistent. It's the Allen show. We got Allen in Denver, Allen in Carolina, and Allen now in Buffalo. Josh Allen looked good the first half of the season. Not so good the second half. His teams are adjusting to what they are doing. They need to build that consistency again. Get that run game going with Singletary and whoever else they got over there. Number 14, the Los Angeles Rams, down 2 spots. Gizmo says the defense is doing their part, but the offensive line is not helping. The run game nowhere to be seen. This is a totally different Rams team. The defense is playing how it did last year. Aaron Donald's just a beast, dominating games and getting safeties, but that offense just cannot do what they were doing before. Teams, I think, are starting to figure out the McVay offense and making contingencies to try to stop it. Number 13, the Indianapolis Colts, down 2 spots. Gizmo says the loss to the Finns gave the Texans the upper hand. Hoyer has cost this team 2 games since Brissett went down. Hoyer's horrible. Hoyer is horrible. He's probably worse than Blake Bortles, and Blake Bortles is trash. Did you see the one play that Blake Bortles had in the Rams game? That was horrible. So until Brissett gets back, this team's going to be exactly where I thought they were going to be, losing. At number 12, the Oakland Raiders up 4 spots. Gizmo says complete victory against the Bolts with Carr. Jacobs in the defense. Surprise run playoff spot. When this team is running the ball with Jacobs and looking good, they can use that play action as teams are having to respect the run, which leaves most of their receivers one-on-one. At number 10, we're in the top 10 now, baby. Oh, number 11, Dallas Cowboys down 1 spot. Gizmo says it was a competitive game, came up short. The run game was non-existent. Wide receivers were hot, still first in the division. Yeah, these guys are going to win the division, I'll tell you that right now. Unless the Eagles make a huge run, this team's running away with it. And speaking of the Eagles, top 10, baby. Number 10, the Philadelphia Eagles up 3 spots off the bye week. Gizmo says, glad Cowboys lost, but Deshaun out, and the next game coming up is the Patriots. Need a big win. Defense has been wishy-washy. They're good one week, not so good the next. I think it's going to come down to them and the Cowboys, but the Cowboys should hold them off as they have the easier of the schedules now. Number 9, the Kansas City Chiefs down 3 spots. Gizmo says Mahomes had 446 yards and 3 touchdowns and still came up short. That defense is bad, leaving 0 margin of error for Patrick. The same story. Chiefs can score 30 points, but they're going to give up 30 points as well. They just need to outscore their opponents. Number 8, Houston Texans down 1 spot. Off the bye week, Gizmo says Will Watson still come up big in their biggest test next week against the mighty Ravens. Should be a fantastic game, Texans versus Ravens. Unfortunately, I think the Ravens are going to come out on top as they do have the better defense than the Texans. But we'll see how it goes. Watson is the key. Number 7, Minnesota Vikings up 2 spots. Gizmo said it was a big road win, staying in contention for the wild card spot. Dalvin Cook clear MVP with his rushing. I don't know about all that as Russell Wilson's tearing things up in Seattle, but Dalvin Cook is definitely in the top 3 of MVP candidates this year. They need to get the continuity going where if they run Cook, give Cousins time, that's when they look good. Moving, number 6, the New Orleans Saints going down 2 spots. Gizmo says the offense came out sloppy with penalties and pass protection and were manhandled by the Falcons. That O-line just could not contain the Falcons' defensive line. If teams figure out what the Falcons did, the Saints are going to be in trouble. Moving up to the top 5 of the league, the number 5, Seattle Seahawks up 1 spot. Gizmo says the defense came up big with 3 takeaways, leading to 21 points, and Wilson scrambled to set up the winning field goal. I mentioned it in the beginning of the show. That was not a fantastic game as all the teams had turnovers, sloppy play. Carson's a fumble-holic. He is known for fumbling the ball. They need to figure out what they're going to do here. Otherwise, it's going to cost them in the playoffs. Number 4, Green Bay Packers up 1 spot. Gizmo says Rodgers minus touchdown passes, but running back Jones found the end zone 3 times with 93 rushing yards. I think it was the 2nd or 3rd time Aaron Rodgers did not have a passing touchdown in a game. They still came away with the win, and that's the wins that you want. When you don't look good, but you still find a way to win, that's what gets teams deep in the playoffs. Number 3, the Baltimore Ravens, top 3 time, baby, up 1 spot. Gizmo says the Ravens had no letdown from last week's big win, took apart the Bengals easily. But it was the Bengals, so don't look too much into it. The elite teams are the ones that they need to get over, and it's usually a coin flip whenever they play those guys. Number 2, the New England Patriots off the bye week, staying in the same spot. Gizmo says the bye week needed to regroup after a tough loss to the Ravens. The stretch coming up, not so easy. Yeah, they have some tough games coming up. It'll be a big test for them heading into the playoffs. And if they can stay healthy through this run, they should be okay once they make it to the playoffs. Last but not least, number 1, staying in the same spot, the San Francisco 49ers. Gizmo says they hung tight in a Monday thriller, but too many mistakes and a horrendous kick in overtime to win. Like, they signed this kid off the street and put him in 2 clutch game decision kicks. The first one he made, the second one he missed badly, so they could have put the ball in the end zone and not put it in his hands, but that's what happens when you sign a guy off the street. He made one, unfortunately did not make the other one. He made like 4 field goals that game. Unfortunately, the one he missed was the one that cost him the game. Niners, great game. Garoppolo still throwing off his back foot is going to cost them in the playoffs if they have another game just like this. That is it. That is the power rankings heading into this week of the NFL. Let Gizmo know what you thought about it, what you think. I think the teams are right where they need to be as the end of the season is coming up. And we'll be making some way too early picks here pretty soon for Super Bowl predictions again. Have a great day, everybody. Stay safe, and we will see you guys again next time.